everybody, and welcome again to another of our Meet the Commissioners series here on ACHAHockey.org. My name is Lou Gamelin, and today I'm pleased and honored to be joined by the Commissioner of the Women's Division I, and that's Molly Mahoney. Molly, thanks for taking time out today. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Crazy year that we've got here with all the things that have been happening with COVID. What has your summer been like as far as your duties as the D1 commissioner? How have they changed as opposed to maybe a normal summer of activities?
Yeah. Usually I would say May, June, even early July is usually pretty slow. There might be some communication here and there. And then as we start ramping up for registration and things like that, it gets a little busier. But this year, it seems like there's emails going out every week, every other day. It's been a little crazy making sure to touch base with teams and making sure that they're talking to their schools and making sure that we have all of the most up-to-date information on statuses of teams. So it's been a little crazy.
Now, one of the questions I like to ask everybody, we'll kind of change the subject a little bit, then we'll get back to that. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would, before you became the D1 commissioner. Maybe some playing experience at the high school, college level, whatever, coaching experience. Tell us a little bit about yourself, if you would.
Yeah, so I started playing hockey in Kalamazoo, Michigan, where I was born and raised. I was actually on the first all-girls team there and played ever since I was like 12, give or take.
Okay.
Actually started out as a figure skater, so transitioned over to the good side. And then I started the women's hockey team at Grand Valley State in 2007, graduated in 2009, and then I became the Central Collegiate Women's Hockey Association Assistant Commissioner, so the CCWHA. And then after a year or two of that, I became the commissioner. And I went to grad school during that time and kind of got my career started and different things like that. And then applied for the ACHA Women's Division Commissioner job and was fortunate enough to get that. And I've coached on and off a little bit. Mostly I started as a U19 coach for the girls. And then now in my full-time job, I'm on the ice coaching 3, 4, 5 days a week. So.
Wow. Now, how has that been this summer coaching? Has that been any different than a normal summer too?
Yes, it has. So I actually work at the ice rink at the University of Notre Dame. And so our rink has actually been shut down since the middle of March. So we are doing lots of online learning, lots of online working from home kind of stuff, lots of coaching seminars and different things like that. So it's been quite a transition.
Oh, I bet. Now, tell us a little bit about, I know how tough it had to have been for you back in March, just like all of us that were excited to go down to Dallas. That had to have been one of the most heartbreaking things to experience and have to tell the teams and whatnot that everybody was all set to go and then boom, it just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I would say that as the commissioner, I had a far easier job with it versus the coaches, right? The coaches had to go and tell all of those players. For the most part, when I was making those calls, the coaches were like, I know what you're going to say. Like, I know what's coming. And so I then having them say, okay, now I have to go tell my kids, like that was the most heartbreaking part. Like, wow, we just literally, stopped everybody's seasons. And so it was definitely difficult. But I think, we want to make sure that the safety of our players is number one. So.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And it's easy for us to sit back and, it like I'm in the same boat. I know it was difficult, but these kids that might have made the guys and gals that made the nationals for the first time, or whatever. And boy, that I think was the toughest in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Or even the seniors where this could have been their last one and different things like that. Definitely a difficult discussion and difficult to handle.
So with all of that and then going into this fall, how has that maybe changed your goals for 2020 and 2021? I know you can't really speak specific on when, the timetable because it could change at any time, but has that changed your goals and how you look at things for the upcoming year?
Yes and no. I think the ultimate goal is to be able to have everyone gather in a safe
Mhm.
manner so that we can have that national tournament. I think the biggest changes is going to be, what qualifies a team to get to nationals, and then does our format at nationals need to change so that
Right.
we can try to give these as many teams and as many players the opportunity to play. But of course, like we've talked about, keeping that safety the student athlete welfare is the number one thing. And so if we can figure out a way to get them all at nationals, that is the goal, right?
Mhm.
But definitely continuing those conversations and figuring out how we can have a successful season to make that all happen.
Now, looking back at your time that you've been in the ACHA, from when you started as a player, boy, things have changed even in the last 5 to 10 years. But it just seems like the ACHA has grown in leaps and bounds, and especially the women's division. Um, Tell us a little bit about that. What you've seen, the growth that you've seen in the last 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, I think the numbers alone, both, I think when I played the Division 2, women's Division 2 stuff was brand new. It was, in its infancy. And now you look at it and it's exponentially huge. So it's amazing to see the number of teams that have come on both on the women's 1 and on the women's 2 side. I also think it's incredible that both the women's Division 1 and women's Division 2 have female commissioners. And women's Division 1 right now also has a woman VP as well. So I think that in itself says a lot, right? So I think it's great to see that diversity and getting women in those positions of change and opportunity.
And like, especially at the national tournament level, when I came on board about 6 years ago, each of the divisions were playing in their own separate facility, hundreds of miles away from each other. Now it's all brought together, and it just makes for such a great celebration at the end of the year.
Yeah, definitely. It's great to have all of the divisions together. I know that we've seen it on the women's 1 side where the teams that have teams in other divisions will get to go watch their men's team play or their women's 2 team play. So it's been really cool to see that camaraderie and those different things for sure.
Now, we talked a little bit about what you do in the summer. Now, when does your when does your year really ramp up? Does it start up around Labor Day? Is it a year-round thing now as opposed to maybe 5 to 10 years ago? When does it really get started for you?
I would say it gets really started for us as soon as registration opens,
Okay.
which this year is like the first week of August, which is usually around that time too. It's a matter of getting the teams that we can registered, making sure they're registering the right way, making sure that everything is, I's dotted, T's crossed kind of stuff. So definitely beginning of August gets everything going.
Now, during the year, do you get a chance to get out and travel a little bit and see some of the games and meet the coaches in person? Is that to me would be one of the fun things of your position?
Yeah. So when I was the CCWHA commissioner, I was able to do a little bit more. Now that I've stepped away from that, I have not had an opportunity to
Okay.
travel as much as I would have liked. But it is nice because the Notre Dame has a women's Division 2 team. So
Mhm.
I enjoy watching their games and kind of seeing some of those teams come through. So definitely something I would like to do more of is travel and see our teams. But I will say, like, we have really good communication with most of our coaches in the women's 1 side, and whether I'm able to pull them up online and watch them, that's what
Mhm.
I try to do too. So it's good.
Now, I bet you've gotten to, out of necessity, been able to be a little more computer savvy and all technologically advanced this summer, huh?
A little bit, lots of Zooms.
Oh, I know, it's crazy, isn't it? So, for the upcoming year, what would be the one thing that you would like to see that I don't know if improvement's the right word, but what is your main goal for 2020 and 2021?
I would say one of the things that we were really excited about was when we were able to have our women's 1 breakout. We came up with a new nationals format for the women's 1 side. And I got to tell you, I was really excited about it. I was excited to see it happen. So fingers crossed that we can see that come to fruition and experience it for the first time.
Well, that'd be exciting. I hope so, because it really did look like it was going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. Now we get everything, like you say, cross your fingers and everything. We get to maybe get it going in Boston next year. That'd be a lot of fun, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
So, Molly, I got to ask you, you know, your hockey, it seems like 12 months a year now. Everybody is. It's a different time. But when you step away from hockey, what do you like to do in your free time?
I would say hanging out with my husband and our dog or any family, trying to get to the beach as much as possible, enjoying the outdoors. I have to say that with quarantine, I've been doing a lot of baking and cooking and trying new recipes. So it's been good.
Boy, that sounds like our family too. Well, Molly, hey, thanks a lot for taking time out of your busy schedule to join us here on this series. It's been a lot of fun. It's a pleasure to meet you, and good luck this year. Hopefully, again, we'll keep our fingers crossed we can get the season underway. I'm confident we can. But again, thanks for joining us. Good luck, and hope to talk to you real soon.
Yes, thank you for having me.
You bet.